The person sitting quietly in the corner during a crisis isn't weak. They're calculating. While everyone else is panicking, shouting, or falling apart, they're the ones who step up when it matters most. But here's what nobody tells you about truly strong people. They've mastered something the rest of us completely miss. They understand that real strength isn't about flexing your muscles or proving how tough you are. It's about something far more powerful and infinitely more rare. Think about the last time you saw someone handle a nightmare situation with complete calm. They didn't scream, didn't break down, didn't need to tell everyone how hard it was for them. They just handled it. That's not luck. That's not genetics. That's a specific way of thinking that separates the genuinely strong from everyone else pretending to be strong. Most people think strength means being the loudest voice in the room. They're dead wrong. The strongest people I know are often the quietest ones. They've figured out secrets about power that most of us never learn. Today I'm going to show you exactly what they know that you don't. This isn't feel-good motivation. This is the real psychology behind unshakable strength. Part 1. The reverse peacock effect. You see someone struggling at work, and they immediately post about it on social media. Another person faces a major setback, and within hours everyone knows their business. But there's something fascinating happening with the people who seem unshakable. They're doing the exact opposite of what you'd expect. While most people turn their pain into a public performance, truly strong individuals keep their battles locked away. They understand something most people miss completely. Broadcasting your struggles doesn't make you stronger. It makes you weaker. Think about the last time you shared a personal problem seeking sympathy. How did it actually make you feel afterward? Did it solve anything? Or did it just make you feel more helpless? The people who quietly handle their challenges are building something you can't see from the outside. When you keep your struggles private, you force yourself to find real solutions instead of temporary comfort. You develop genuine problem-solving skills instead of sympathy-seeking habits. Your brain stops looking for rescue and starts looking for results. This doesn't mean suffering in silence or avoiding help when you need it. It means choosing who gets access to your vulnerable moments. It means processing internally before processing externally. The strongest people you know aren't the ones telling everyone about their problems. They're the ones who disappear for a while and come back transformed. They understand that true resilience is built in private, not performed for an audience. This is sign number 1 out of 8 signs that reveal genuine mental strength. And here's what makes this approach so powerful. Part 2. The chess master mentality. You walk into a meeting and someone immediately attacks your idea. Most people would defend themselves right away, but watch what happens when someone with real mental strength faces the same situation. They do something completely different. Instead of reacting to what just happened, they're already thinking about what will happen next. While everyone else is playing checkers, they're playing chess. They see the moves behind the moves. That person who attacked your idea, a mentally strong person wonders why they really did it. Are they threatened? Are they protecting their own position? Are they having a bad day and taking it out on you? They collect this information like data points, not personal attacks. Your emotions are screaming at you to fight back, but emotions are just information, not instructions. The chess master uses that anger as fuel for clarity, not fuel for reaction. They think 3 steps ahead while everyone else is stuck on step 1. This changes everything about how you handle conflict. Instead of winning the argument, you win the relationship. Instead of proving you're right, you prove you're smart. Instead of defending your position, you strengthen it. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, you wonder what emergency they might be rushing to. When your boss criticizes your work, instead of getting defensive, you look for the lesson they're accidentally teaching you. This is sign number 2 out of 8, and it transforms every interaction you have. But there's something even more powerful that mentally strong people do. Part 3. The controlled burn technique. Forest firefighters have discovered something brilliant. Instead of waiting for massive fires to destroy everything, they intentionally start small fires to prevent the big ones. Mentally strong people have stolen this strategy for their own lives. While most people avoid discomfort at all costs, strong people seek it out on purpose. They know something you probably don't. The small challenges you choose are much easier than the big challenges life chooses for you. They take cold showers when they could take hot ones. They wake up early when they could sleep in. They have difficult conversations when they could avoid them. This isn't masochism. This is preparation. Every small discomfort you choose builds your tolerance for the big discomforts you can't choose. When a real crisis hits, your nervous system already knows how to handle stress. When pressure comes, you've already practiced staying calm under pressure. Think about your biggest fears. Public speaking, difficult conversations, taking risks. Mentally strong people don't wait until they have to face these fears. They face smaller versions of them regularly. They join the gym not just for their body, but for their mind. Every rep they don't want to do is practice for every task they won't want to do later. Every early morning is practice for every difficult day ahead. This creates something amazing. Real confidence, not the fake kind that crumbles under pressure, but the kind that gets stronger when tested. The kind that comes from knowing you've already survived discomfort before. This is sign number 3 out of 8. And it's the difference between hoping you're strong and knowing you're strong. Part 4. The invisible anchor method. Picture a ship in a storm. The waves are massive, the wind is howling, but the ship stays in place. Not because it's fighting the storm, but because it's anchored to something the storm can't touch. Mentally strong people have found their invisible anchor. While most people's self-worth goes up and down based on what happened today, strong people have something steady underneath. Their value isn't negotiable. It doesn't depend on their last performance review, their relationship status, or their bank account. They've created internal standards that external circumstances can't shake. When someone doesn't like them, it doesn't make them question their worth. When they fail at something, it doesn't make them feel like a failure. When they succeed, it doesn't make them think they're better than everyone else. This isn't arrogance. This is stability. They measure their success by their own metrics, not society's applause. Did they keep their word to themselves? Did they show up when it mattered? Did they grow from their mistakes? These are the questions that matter. Most people are constantly looking for proof that they're valuable. Strong people already know they are. Most people need others to validate their choices. Strong people validate their own choices with their results. When your self-worth comes from inside, criticism becomes information instead of injury. When your standards come from within, you stop being controlled by other people's opinions. When your anchor is invisible, the storms of life can't drag you off course. This is sign number 4 out of 8. And it's what makes some people unshakable, while others are constantly shaken. But there's another sign that's equally powerful. Part 5, the strategic silence principle. Someone accuses you of something you didn't do. Your first instinct is to defend yourself immediately. But watch what mentally strong people do in this situation. They do something that seems impossible. They stay quiet. Not because they can't defend themselves, not because they don't have a good response, but because they understand something most people don't. Sometimes silence is the strongest response you can give. When you rush to defend yourself, you give power to the accusation. When you argue with someone who's being unreasonable, you make their unreasonableness seem reasonable. When you explain yourself to someone who's already decided not to understand, you weaken your position. Mentally strong people know when words will help and when words will hurt. They let their actions speak instead of their explanations. They let their character defend itself over time instead of defending it in the moment. This doesn't mean being passive. This means being strategic. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Some people aren't worth convincing. Some accusations dissolve on their own when you don't feed them with attention. Think about the most powerful people you know. Do they argue with everyone who disagrees with them? Do they explain themselves to every critic? Or do they simply continue being who they are and let the results speak for themselves? Strategic silence sends a message that arguing never could. It says you're secure enough not to need everyone's approval. It says you're confident enough not to need everyone's understanding. It says you're strong enough to let time prove you right instead of trying to prove it right now. This is sign number 5 out of 8, and it might be the hardest one to master. But the next sign changes how you handle every difficult emotion. Part 6. The emotional Aikido. Practice. In martial arts, there's a technique called Aikido, where you don't fight your opponent's force, you redirect it. You use their energy against them instead of opposing it with your own. Mentally strong people have mastered the emotional version of this technique. When anger comes, most people either suppress it or explode with it. Strong people do neither. They redirect that energy into focus. When sadness comes, most people either avoid it or drown in it. Strong people use it as fuel for empathy and connection. Every negative emotion carries energy. The question isn't whether you'll feel it. The question is what you'll do with the energy once it arrives. Will you let it destroy you, or will you let it power you? Think about the last time you felt really angry. What if instead of staying angry, you use that energy to solve the problem that made you angry? What if instead of complaining about what went wrong, you channeled that passion into making something go right? Mentally strong people have learned to see adversity as raw material, not as a final product. Pain becomes a teacher, not a victim story. Failure becomes feedback, not an identity. Rejection becomes redirection, not devastation. They don't pretend negative emotions don't exist. They don't fake positivity when they feel terrible. Instead, they ask a different question. How can this emotion serve me instead of controlling me? How can this experience strengthen me instead of breaking me? This transforms everything. Your worst days become your strongest days. Your biggest challenges become your greatest growth opportunities. Your deepest pain becomes your most powerful purpose. This is sign number 6 out of 8, and it's how mentally strong people turn their wounds into wisdom. But the next sign might be the most beautiful one. Part 7. The Lighthouse Philosophy. Picture a lighthouse during a storm. The waves crash against it, the wind tries to knock it down, but it never moves. It keeps shining its light no matter what's happening around it. Ships in trouble navigate toward its consistency, not its mood. Mentally strong people have become human lighthouses. While everyone around them is changing based on circumstances, they remain steady. While others are emotional roller coasters, they're emotional anchors. This doesn't mean they don't feel emotions. It means their emotions don't control their behavior. They can feel frustrated and still be kind. They can feel disappointed and still be supportive. They can feel uncertain and still be decisive. People around them learn to depend on this consistency. In a world where everyone's mood depends on what happened that morning, they provide something rare: stability, reliability, peace. They don't announce their strength. They don't make speeches about being steady. They just are. Day after day, situation after situation, they show up the same way. Not perfect, but consistent. Not without problems, but not controlled by their problems. When others are panicking, they provide calm. When others are giving up, they provide hope. When others are lost, they provide direction. Not through their words, but through their presence. This creates something powerful. Other people start to become stronger just by being around them. Their stability becomes contagious. Their peace becomes a refuge for others who are struggling. This is sign number 7 out of 8, and it's how mentally strong people impact everyone around them without even trying. But the final sign reveals the secret source of all this strength. Part 8. The Deep Roots System. You see a massive tree survive a hurricane while smaller plants get destroyed. The difference isn't in the branches you can see. The difference is in the roots you can't see. The tree that survives has roots that go deeper than the storm can reach. Mentally strong people have built their own deep root system. Their strength doesn't come from their circumstances. It comes from their values and principles. Surface-level problems can't touch their core identity because their identity is anchored in something deeper. When life tries to uproot them, they bend, but don't break. When storms come, they sway, but don't fall. When everything around them is chaotic, they remain grounded because they're connected to something stable underneath. Their roots are made of the promises they keep to themselves, the standards they refuse to lower, the values they won't compromise, the principles they live by regardless of what's convenient. Most people's strength comes from what's happening to them. Strong people's strength comes from what's happening in them. Most people are only as stable as their last success. Strong people are as stable as their deepest convictions. This means when they lose their job, they don't lose their identity. When a relationship ends, they don't lose their worth. When they make a mistake, they don't lose their confidence. Because none of these things were their true source of strength to begin with. The deeper your roots, the taller you can grow. The stronger your foundation, the bigger the storms you can weather. The clearer your values, the more confusing situations become simple decisions. This is sign number 8 out of 8, and it's the foundation that makes all the other signs possible. But here's what this all means for you. These 8 signs aren't just observations about mentally strong people. They're invitations for you to become one of them. Every sign you just learned is a skill you can develop. Every principle you just discovered is a practice you can implement. Start with the one that resonates most with you. Maybe it's keeping your struggles private instead of broadcasting them. Maybe it's thinking 3 moves ahead instead of reacting to what just happened. Maybe it's choosing small discomforts to build your tolerance for big ones. The path to mental strength isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more intentional with who you already are. It's about developing these signs one choice at a time, one day at a time, one challenge at a time. Remember, mentally strong people weren't born that way. They became that way through practice, through intentional choices, through refusing to let life happen to them instead of through them. The same transformation that happened for them can happen for you. Your strength is waiting to be discovered. Your resilience is waiting to be built. Your mental toughness is waiting to be developed. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you'll do what it takes to find out.